Hello everybody, how's it going? Just got some material milled up here today. These are all clear slabs. These are all pine. They're all nice and dry. Got some nice coloring, purple in them. I need about 4 feet worth. See that base over there? That's going to be the ends of this table. It's going to have this 1.5 inch planking on it, and then underneath it's going to have another couple rails going between the legs. Then I can put another shelf underneath the tabletop. Then I can store tools and stuff there, and then I have a nice platform to work off of. So what I'm doing right now, I just snapped the line here to where I can get, well, this side is kind of a little bit messed up here, so just gonna mark this side with a saw curve because it's all jagged. So that's going to be a straight line. This right here, I'm going to cut all this edge off here. So I know where that cut's going to be, right? I want to stack a few of these all together and cut them all at the same time on the one side there. So I'll have to screw these together, screw some more on there, then they'll all be equal. And so I'm just trying to find my nicest edge here. I guess if I cut right about there. So this mark here, as well as an arbitrary mark down there, I have to line up about like so here. About like so. Because I can cut all of these pieces here all at the same time. Just going to throw a string line on there just to make sure that okay, right there. This would be a good spot right here. Okay, because I know where I'm cutting, I can screw these pieces together right now. I find if I can cut the slabs like this, because the tree's round, I start taking a bunch of cuts out of it to maximize my most out of the wood. I could just cut a cant. I could cut like a 6-inch piece by maybe 8 inches or 9 inches and just cut a whole bunch of pieces that are all the same size. But then I lose a lot of waste on the ends. So what I can do is just make slab it all out, slab the tree all out. So I've got all these slabs like this, right? And then from these slabs, then I figure out how wide I can make each one. Instead of cutting each one individually on the mill, I just kind of figure out my length. Where I'm going to cut, I know I'm going to cut all on the same line here, so then I'll just screw them together right now, add the next one, then all I have to do is figure out where that line is and level up all 4 or 5 pieces, however many pieces I put on there, cut them all, then I can unscrew them all, and then I can say, okay, these ones are going to be 8-inch pieces, these ones will be a couple 6-inch pieces, this one will be, maybe a 10-inch piece or something. Then I can maximize the most amount of use I get out of each board. So that's what I'm doing right now. So see down here on this other side here, I only have about 6 inches from my cut line here, right, to, so you know, but this one here from my cut line here, I've got about 8 inches at least, maybe more. So there'll be some pieces that I'll be cutting like 8 inches, and some probably at 5 or 6 or something, right? But that's how, a little bit of a slow process. But once this stuff is done, right, then I can start doing some notches in those table legs there, right? I want to do yeah, this will be a cool looking table, right? Yeah, I cut this stuff down, and there's some of this stuff here, like it has those really, oh yeah, you can see those. You see this is bug kill. When you get bug kill pine, and it stands, I don't know what it does, but that the blue comes out in that or that something, I'm not too sure, something to do with the bark, maybe it goes into the wood, or maybe it's just the way it cures or something, but it really gets this blue colors. This stuff is classified like when lumber mills, they mill up a whole bunch of stuff and they get to really nice, and they get some really nice pine, clear pine. This stuff isn't clear, there's knots all through it, right? But if they get this blue stuff with clear, that's number one, maybe number 1A or something, right? But it's the premium stuff, and they send that stuff. It doesn't even, like us Canadian carpenters, we won't even see it unless we actually have to special order it. It gets sent to overseas, to Japan and places like that. So it's nice to work with, just nice to work with those colors. Then I run this string line because I know that's where my cut line is going to be. So it gets me to utilize the most out of each log here, or each plank that I have. Oh yeah, I was just talking about like the World Economic Forum and how these guys are all talking about water for the next crisis. California was on like they were like a lot of their reservoirs they didn't have very much water at all, and now we had this what do they call it? They call it atmospheric river. This atmospheric river come down the west coast, and like Lake Shada something or other, right? I forget what that lake is. Shada Shista or frickin' something like that. But anyways, that lake, it rose over 10 feet on that last atmospheric river. I said now they have more than enough water in their water systems, but now they're getting. Now I just heard they're getting going to have another atmospheric river go down through there. You know, one was almost devastating enough that they're talking about widespread flooding in different areas, right? But now they're going to get another one when all their reservoirs and all the groundwater is probably at maximum capacity. If it's not one thing, it's the next, right? But there is still lots of water problems, right? One thing like these guys were talking a while ago about water, about what the reservoirs had in the States. They said, right? Because I'm always thinking about stuff with the environment, water, and stuff. But the ones down in the States, they said they had enough water in those reservoirs for like, I don't know, a few years. It was like something like 5 or 6 years. They said, you know, how much water is in there for how much they use each year. They can roughly estimate how many years you have in a reservoir, and with annual precipitation and stuff like that. And then it was last year or the year before, they were like saying, oh, we're at all-time lows, and those guys were saying, well, the report last year just said you guys had enough water for like 5 years or 6 years or whatever it was, and now you barely have enough water for next year. They said, well, what's going on with the water system? They said, is somebody releasing more water than they should, right? But I never heard much back on that. But stuff like that, sometimes you don't, right? So, but just remember that California right now, it's right on like Google headlines, right? If you look at California infrastructure, you can see how much water they got. They say they got more than enough water for the next year. So now if you start hearing that, you know, they're on widespread water water restrictions and stuff like that, you can say, well, what is it, right? If you're at, you know, if they say they got enough water now in their systems, because they say water, right? The World Economic Forum is crazy. Those guys are crazy, and they're the ones talking about water restrictions and stuff like that, right? Like, I'm not trying to make this stuff up. Oh yeah, this table's going to be a nice heavy-duty, solid table. Then I'll have a nice place to work. I'll have a nice little bench underneath, and then just makes projects go a lot better when you're set up a little bit better, right? So Yeah, on carbon emissions. Yeah, those guys were talking. They were trying to say that, like, people in the World Economic Forum and stuff like that, on climate change and climate crisis and carbon emissions. They were saying domestic, domestic gardens, right, were 5 times more harmful than commercial, commercialized gardening. So like people that have gardens at home, they're saying those are actually causing some climate problems with carbon, carbon. We see the lot of the that's a nice big plank. You see, I hate big wide planks like this, but let's see. Because if my table has a little bit of waning on the inside, like on the bottom, say if I put this down for a tabletop piece right here, you see how it's got some wane right here? Like say if I cut this 7 inches or something, right, wide, wouldn't be a solid plank right through. See if it was at 7 inches is right there, it would still have some waning on the edge there underneath the table, right? It wouldn't make the table weak by any means, right? It just wouldn't be wouldn't be a solid plank right through. But I get the, like, if I try to make this thing like right here, like I could only, if I wanted to make it totally solid, I would get 5 inches. Even if I did 6 inches on this one here, right? Then yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Right, because then it'll still be sticking past on both sides on this side. The way it planes through. But what do you do? Like that's just like, on the side pieces, sometimes you have a wider taper. That's what I meant about trying to utilize as much of these planks as possible. Because when I'm cutting this stuff, this dry stuff, sometimes there's a crack, right? There's a split. And a lot of the dry stuff will check, right? You'll get a big check all the way through your tree, so but it'll just be through half of the tree. If you can cut it so that piece is right in the middle of your cut, then you can utilize that tree, right? If you cut it the wrong way, then you're going to be making a lot of cuts, and you're going to just have a lot of waste, right? So you have to really know what you're doing when you're looking at the way you want to cut your tree. So that's why I have some nice planks here. So with these planks, I want to utilize as much as I can out of them, instead of having a whole bunch of waste on the side. So I think I'll probably do something like that there. Oh yeah, I remember 10 years ago they were talking about one day they're gonna be able to transplant a silicone microchip to a brain cell, right? To a brain. Well, they finally accomplished that, right? That's one of Elon Musk's accomplishments. But he's doing actually some pretty cool stuff, Elon Musk, right? But can you imagine that? Like, some of the stuff that they're doing, they're getting guys to walk before that have never walked before, guys that have been paralyzed and different things like that. So with some of that sciences and different things, it's pretty cool that how they are becoming, right? You know, almost like the bionic man, almost like almost like Terminator. But what's scary too with that talking on that same token, like, are they going to be able to? And they already thinking like, I've heard some stuff saying where it's almost possible with like nanotechnology and with silicone implants and different things like that to have encyclopedia knowledge shipped right into your brain. Now, wouldn't that be something, man? You're like in a James Bond show, and you need to know how to hotwire a 737 jet and fly out of town. Well, you would have that information wired to you, right? Bang, you'd be an aviation expert. So, I don't know how many more I should do. I guess I should just do all of these at one time, right? I'm screwing them all together. It'll just be like a log. Now, why was this piece here? Because what I need is, I need 48 inches, right? So I got 6 here. I'll have 6. 13, 20. Yeah, actually, I don't think I'm going to. It's only 2 more. I guess I probably could. Yeah, some of the stuff out there is pretty cool. What the world has. With technological advances and stuff, what we have figured out is as mankind. But it always sucks when you get to the height of your civilization, right? Higher than you ever been before. And so many people fighting for dominance, right? And who's the supreme leaders, and when they talk about a one world governance, right? What do they want? Do they want to create a world war, another world war? Right? For what? Because if they there's been prophecies and stuff prophesized that the next maybe U.S. president or something, but it might not be the next U.S. president. It's the next leader, right? The next person, right? Will be able to stop the Third World War, right? But maybe that's like a one world governance type of situation, like these guys. Nothing nowadays is really what it seems, right? Because